Right, I'm just going to show you how to fit this side piece here. Start off and you measure off the length of the piece of wood you want. That's fairly obvious. Take your pen. The pen is much more accurate than a pencil. As you can see, it starts to go up there, so you want to make a mark at where it starts to climb back up, and then make a mark, also making sure that you are square to that panel there, and make a mark where it finishes. Get your steel ruler. Knife. As accurately as you can, take out that piece off the bottom, and that should fit there perfectly. Now comes a slightly trickier bit. You need to keep that position there and bend it around to top. I find the best way is just do a kind of a rough slice first, because you've way too much wood on there. So just kind of mark it roughly as to where you want to be. So really don't try to be too accurate on your first cuts, otherwise you're going to end up with it a little bit short. Now that one there, just come back a little bit, I think. So as you can see in there, you just got it sticking up a little bit, so just kind of nick it into about there. And that end doesn't look too bad, so I'll just take a little bit more off, only at a slight angle. This is how you kind of have to make all of these individual planks and panels, because there isn't any of them that are the same. Even from side to side there'll be a variation. That one actually needs a little bit off there, because there seems to be just a slight taper on it. This is all part of scale planes. If you're doing those stunt planes, you don't have to do any of this curvature stuff. You just make flat sides and that's the end of it. Right, I think that is what I'm doing. Now, as I was saying the other day about when we were making the bit for the fin, because you're going to blend in against a flat surface, you don't want that edge there. So just take this piece and rub it down at an angle. It also allows the glue a larger area to stick. Just kind of maybe around about a 45-degree angle. As I say, if you really were struggling, you could use steam on this, but I don't think I won't need steam, because the steam would just make the wood a little more pliable. The last thing you want is a piece sticking up at the top, because as you rub that down to match, go up straight through it, and that'll be the end of your piece of wood. Right, I think that should do. Take your glue and just outline it. Again, if you try to do this with super glue, you just end up in a mess, because by the time you were sticking the bottom, the rest of it would dry or it would stick to your fingers. Just a little skim along the top, because you'll probably add in more of that afterwards, and down the ribs. Decided to use the harder wood because that way I won't need any stiffeners, because if you use that softer stuff, it does have a tendency to bow in. Right, now you need your pins and a hammer, remembering that this spar along the bottom, the spruce bit or the pine bit that would take the wing struts, is pretty hard, so you'll not be able to squash it in with your finger. Just get it nicely against the plywood planks on the bottom. Also make sure there's nothing underneath it, because when you're banging one side, of course, you'll damage the other side. You feel a bit of an idiot. Must admit the pins are starting to get pretty glued up as well. Yeah, they don't last forever. You just, at the end of this, I'll almost certainly throw out this tray of pins and get a new one. If you stick it in and the pin gets stuck to the wood, when you pull the pin back out, it yanks out a little circle of wood, as has happened on odd planks that I've fitted. Just rub the excess in. I just thought it was worth showing you this, because it isn't that straightforward as I expected it to be. Mainly because it is the last plank we're fitting as well. Right, the top is just into that rail, so you just stick it in with your fingers, you don't have to hammer it in. And put in as many pins as you need to stop it from going out of shape, and you don't want any of it sticking up. A lot of these pins are in pretty bad shape actually. And there's that little crack there, that's the problem with this harder balsa wood. It doesn't like to be bent at all. You get the idea now. Find the white glue as well. It gets into the grain of the wood, and it really does get a good stern hold of it. Right, I think that should do. There, I've already done that side, but it's exactly the same manner. There, the next bit will be adding in the middle bit. You'll notice the bit that I'm attaching it to, this rail here, I added in afterwards. It just goes down the side of the other rail. So the pedestal piece that we were making. It'll just drop straight into there. On a good day, like that. And then it'll all start to blend in. Okay. See how we get on with that.